If you're tired of boring and overpriced meal prep, this crispy beef stir fry is packed with protein, it's easy on the wallet, and best of all, it tastes fantastic. All of the ingredients are laid out in front of me right here. You can swap and change a few things as well, just use up what you've got in the fridge. So let's jump straight into it. For this recipe, we need 1 large brown onion or just 2 small ones. Take off both ends and then slice it in half and then peel it. In the half moon position, we can then slice this up small to medium in size. When you get about 3/4 of the way through, just lay it flat and then continue slicing safely, and then just go through and continue with the remaining onion. We're going to need 1 small to medium sized bell pepper or capsicum. You can use any color. I'm using red for this recipe. Stand it up and then slice around that core and pith. This is just the easiest method to get minimal seeds in there, and this one doesn't really have that many seeds anyway. Once that's all clean, we can then start slicing this into thin, even-sized battens. The thinner they are, the quicker they'll cook. And obviously, if you cut them a little bit thicker, they are going to take a little bit more time to cook. Next is 4 spring onions or scallions. All we're going to do is separate the green stem from that white root. With the white root, this could be roughly chopped, and we're going to be using this in the stir fry. And with the stem, thinly slice this. You can do it on an angle as well to create a little bit of presentation. And this is going to be used as a garnish. There probably is a little bit too much to be used as a garnish, so we can add a little bit into the stir fry as well. And if you don't even have any spring onions, you don't have to use them. Don't go out and buy a whole bunch just to use 4. It's not really worth it. Run 6 cloves of garlic along a microplane along with 10 grams or 0.3 ounces of peeled ginger. Both of these can be mixed together because they're going into the stir fry at the same time. For the stir fry sauce, 100 grams or 3.3 ounces of low sodium soy sauce into a bowl, 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of honey, 50 grams or 1.7 ounces of sweet chili sauce. You can also use low sugar varieties, 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of sambal oelek, 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of chicken stock, and just a light sprinkle of ground white pepper. And then get in there with a whisk, just mix everything together until everything's evenly combined. We can pop this aside until we're ready to cook our stir fry. The last thing before we get cooking that I just want to quickly touch on is the noodles. This is 400 grams or 14 ounces of thin Hokkien noodles, and these ones are fresh. I'm going to be pouring over some boiling water just to cover them. We're going to let this cook or sit for about 3 minutes just to loosen them up. If you do have dried noodles, just make sure you follow the packet instructions accordingly. All right, now with all of the prep out of the way, we can place a pan or a wok over a high heat. Get this nice and hot because we do want this to sear. We don't want it to steam. When the pan's nice and hot, just give it a light spray with some avocado oil. You can also use peanut oil for this. The pan is nice and smoking. We can add in 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of lean beef mince. This is 95% lean. I like to add a touch of salt. Don't go too overboard because of the soy sauce. And I love cracked black pepper, so why not? Let this sit for about a minute to build up a crust, and then we can start breaking this up. And we're going to cook this for about 5 to 6 minutes or until no longer pink, getting that nice crust all over. And we want to extract as much of that moisture as possible and allow it to evaporate. If you have used higher fat beef, you possibly will need to drain off some of that fat, unless of course you like it, but the macros will change. One thing I like to share, especially when cooking beef mince, is when it gets to this stage, it will start cooking down, all of the moisture will start evaporating, and it won't be sizzling as it was when you first initially put it in the pan. What we want to do here is just let it cook out, let all of that moisture cook out, then that sizzling will start happening again. You can get those really nice crispy pieces on the beef. Now once we're sizzling again, that's a telltale sign that we're ready for the next stage. All of that moisture has evaporated out and that beef is starting to get nice and crispy on the bottom. We can add in our spring onion or scallion stems, roots, not stems, as well as half of our sauce. You can actually add a little bit of the stem if you wanted to, just to use up a little bit. And then mix and cook for about 2 minutes to soften that onion, as well as get that sauce nicely reduced and coating the beef. The sweetness in there will help caramelization as well. That's how we'll get this nice and crispy. Also, depending on the pan, depending on the size of the pan and the heat that you have in your home kitchen, might not get as crispy as what I'm gonna get it, or I might not even get it as crispy as I hope. But at the end of the day, it is still a delicious stir fry. Regardless if there's a couple of pieces that are crispy or a couple of pieces that aren't, it is still that delicious beef stir fry. Once that's done and you have a nice crispy beef that looks like this, remove it from the stovetop and then just place it into a bowl, making sure you scrape all of that out of there and try your best not to spill this all over your kitchen bench. Place the same pan back over a high heat and get the pan nice and hot again. Add in just a light spray of avocado oil or peanut oil, and then add in our onions and bell peppers. Mix and cook this for about 5 to 6 minutes, getting that nice color on the onions, softening up those bell peppers. And we want the onions to be translucent, so we'll keep mixing them around and then just continue stir frying until they're nice and soft. In all honesty, I'm not even the biggest fan of bell peppers or capsicums. They just add a really nice smoky flavor, especially to a stir fry. Now once the veggies have softened up, you do have a little bit of nice color on there and you can smell that smoky fragrance. That is exactly where we want them. Add in the garlic and ginger paste and then just spread this out. We're going to cook this for about 2 minutes, just mixing it around regularly. Make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom of the pan. And like I said, if your pan gets too hot, just slightly turn it down. Once that's done, we can then add everything back in. So that is that beef mince. Add in the drained noodles. And I probably should have used a bigger pan, as well as that remaining sauce. And all we need to do is just mix this all together, get everything coated, make sure all of those noodles are evenly spread out. Like I said, use a bigger pan than what I've used here. Just like to make things difficult for myself. One thing I am also adding is 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce. This is just going to get that really nice color. Add in a little bit of that green stem spring onion and continue cooking. Mix everything really well. You have a really nice crispy beef, saucy stir fry, which is exactly what we want. With that all done, we can serve this up into 5 750 milliliter containers. I have a link for these containers in the description, as well as the weights for each serving are on screen right now. Garnish with a little bit of sesame seeds. This is completely optional and you can also toast them or add them through when you're cooking them. Add on the remaining spring onion or scallion stems. Like I said, these are completely optional, but I do recommend it. Just adds that nice little bit of color and texture. And that then leaves us with this crispy beef stir fry. Only took about 20 minutes to make. It's cheap, it's easy, and this is the macros for a single portion, as well as the serving size, and the remaining nutrition, as well as the full written recipe is in the link in the description. When everything's portioned out, let them cool down for about 20 minutes, place on the lids, and these will last in the fridge for up to 3 days and in the freezer for up to 3 months. I'm also using the vacuum sealer just to get an extra day or 2 out of these. I have a link for all of this in the description. Reheat in the microwave, do it in 1 minute bursts for about 3 minutes, and of course, we can then dig in. For being quick and cheap, this is fantastic. The beef is crispy, it's not overly sweet, salty, or spicy. It is the perfect combination of all three, and it's not drowning in sauce. Of course, if you like that, you can always add more sauce, but you will need to change the macros and use a bigger pan.